Hey everybody, John Grimsmo here, and today I want to talk to you about bottles, specifically bottles for our Nano Oil. Now, forever we've been using Nano Oil as the lubricant in our knives, mostly just for the detent and the pivot of the knife, and we've sent every single knife out with this tube of Nano Oil, and we've just bought them in bulk and sent them out free with every single knife, included in the package. I've never loved this bottle though for what we do. I know the Christian, the guy who makes the Nano Oil, needs the pocket clip, needs the little everything because he expects people to hold it like this. We don't really have that. We send it in the package with the knife. I'll show you guys later. So I've always been looking for another bottle solution, and I think we finally found it. So we've been experimenting with these bottles, and we buy them in bulk, and they're fantastic. So these bottles are really cool because they only hold 4 cc's instead of 8 cc's, and we don't need to be giving that much oil. This is like a lifetime's worth of oil. I use mine at home for door hinges and all kinds of stuff. I fixed my wife's sewing machine this morning, and I used Nano Oil. And I still don't go through like a whole bottle, so it's too much. 4 cc's is wonderful, and we found them with these nice little needle point caps with a silicone strap and tip, and it's just a really good combination, good package. However, there's no labeling on it, so we had a local company pad print these. Now, pad printing is a really sweet process, and I totally want to buy a pad printer now, but they're many thousands of dollars, and we found a company just north of us in Toronto called Pad Print Extreme that has been printing these for us. So for the imaging, our guy Ryan came up with the artwork and the layout and the font and everything for it. And then what they do is they laser engrave a little flat plate that a puck goes on top, and the puck is full of this thick ink, and it scrapes over the laser engraved little depth section, which leaves a tiny little thin film of ink. And then a rubber silicone balloon comes down, picks up that piece of ink, and puts it onto your part. Super cool process. It's used in like every industry and all kinds of things you don't even think about. Watches, I don't know how they were back in the 1940s, but nowadays the dials and the numbers and everything are all pad printed. So it's super common. Like I said, I totally want to buy a machine now. But I don't need it yet. So it's like putting these together is every piece of the puzzle had to come together to make it a sellable product, to make it fit into our brand and everything. So over the past 6 months, we've kind of been working on that. And then we've been selling these as is for the past, I don't know, a while. And it's been great. So the question is, how do you fill oil? When you're used to buying oil like this, how do you fill it into individual little bottles? And my solution is right here. This is my dosing station. Talked around with the guys in the shop, brainstormed a bunch of ideas. So for fun, I wanted to experiment with hiring a freelance designer to throw him an idea and see what he comes up with, because I was pretty slammed and I just wanted to see for like 40 bucks. This guy designed this filling station for me with removable trays, which just kind of clock right in there. And then here we have a Camor dosing pump, which it's a peristaltic pump. So when you set it to, I think it's 54 milliliters at the moment, so you hit start and it just churns and squeezes the silicone tube and advances fluid through the manifold for 54 milliliters worth, and that averages out to the 10 bottles. And it slowly fills them. It takes about a minute or two. It's not a big deal, and it's quite pleasant actually. And then Angelo suggested to have more hot swap racks. So we 3D printed these and swapped them out, and it works great. And usually doesn't spill all over the place, but sometimes it does. So this was kind of proof of concept, which has turned into a production process. And we probably have to go through and redesign it and come up with an improved version that doesn't leak and doesn't spill and doesn't whatever. But the proof of concept is working. All parts from McMaster, just little, fittings like this. And when I first put this together, it was literally Christmas time, so I had to watch a Christmas movie, Die Hard. So I watched Die Hard while assembling this, and it was kind of pleasant. the tubing is really hard to get onto those fittings, so you heat it up with a lighter and then you can kind of push it on. And I did that while watching Die Hard. It was nice. So then with that, you know, going from buying individual bottles, now we buy gallon jugs of Nano Oil, which cost many thousands of dollars. And I can feel this one's almost empty, actually. Luckily, we have another one full in the back. And Christian from Nano Oil was very happy to start selling us gallons. And it's great. So we just have the tube going all the way to the bottom. There's a metal, I believe it's titanium 1/4-inch rod that also goes down and keeps it straight and kind of keeps it, you know, pointed down to the bottom and zip tied up along the way. So that just lets the peristaltic pump suck the fluid out and then to the manifold. Now with the design of the manifold, the big question is, how do you make sure that if you're a car guy, your cylinder 1 doesn't run rich and your cylinder 4 doesn't run dry, lean? So I did the math and the calculations, and I got it wrong the first time, but I calculated the opening size of this is a T fitting in here that goes, you know, through and then down. And I figure if you plug up, notice the outlet is plugged. If you plug up the outlet, then you have a combined opening of 10 times whatever that diameter is your combined opening. And if that is significantly more restricted than the through bore of everything, math and theory tells me that the manifold should have more pressure than the outlet. So I did that, and then I got it wrong, and I tried it first, and everything came out the first port. And then I ended up machining these tiny little brass restrictors with a 15 thou drilled hole in the middle that I pressed into the end of the T, which ended up working out very good. So those 15 thou holes times 10 is significantly smaller than the inside diameter of the tubing, and now it works basically perfectly. You know, we fill 10, and for the most part, for our purposes, they're equal. If there are any that are low or high, then Angelo or whoever's doing it will have a fill-up tube that will bop, 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 or you could squeeze it and suck a little bit of excess out. But for the most part, it works fantastically well. When I was looking into how to do this, it was really interesting learning about dosing pumps and about filling stations. And while there is some information out there, it's all like pharmaceutical, like big stuff that there's not like DIY articles on how to do all of this stuff. There's a little bit, but not tons. A lot of aquarium stuff uses dosing pumps. So there's relatively affordable. This was $100 or $200 or something. And then all the fittings and stuff. But it works extremely well. All right, so how does this come to you guys, the customer? In our Nanook cases, we got a video coming out on this in the future whenever we make it. Inside we have our foam, our custom machine foam, Norseman. When you take out the knife, there's your Nano Oil right there. Because we hide it behind the foam, and we don't want people to forget that there's something behind the foam, so we make a little window to tell them, and got the big cutout here. So there's your foam, and then your Torx T9 tool goes right there, and we align the strap and the logo so that it just looks sick. Oh, I forgot the best part. I never realized that Nano Oil by itself smells kind of terrible. It smells like mothballs and whatever. And Ryan, standing behind the camera, knew this because he's shipped a lot more knives than I have, especially recently. And he's like, yeah, it doesn't smell great. So one of our guys, Steven, the classic jokester, he goes, you know what'd be nice? You know what'd be really cool? Is if it smelled good. Is if it smelled like Canada. And what smells like Canada? Maple. And not only that, we have a tiny little maple leaf here because we are made in Canada, and it smells like maple. You know how it smells like maple? So Eric and I have a really good friend that is actually the guy who pushed us into the knife industry and suggested that I start making knives. And he has since built a flavor factory close by. He makes flavors: banana, root beer, strawberry, maple. He makes every single flavor, one of the best flavor companies in the world, as far as I know. And he's a good friend of ours. So I called him up and I was like, hey, Sean, can I get some maple? And check this out. The This is our liter of maple concentrate, synthetic. It's not real maple sugar. What we do is we fill one of these little things purely with maple. We squeeze it out and we pull it out, and we put between 2 and 4 drops into the thing. It used to be 4, we've cut it down to 2. It's very powerful stuff. Only 2 drops in this whole thing. Gives us the smell we need. And it's like a faint, mellow maple smell, so that when you open it, I want it to smell like Canada. Not overpowering, just like nice. And now whenever we walk by this room, we're like, I'm hungry. I feel like pancakes right now. Why do I feel like pancakes? So that's what we do. And now it doesn't smell terrible. It's like I said earlier, it's like in the car world, cylinder 4 is running lean.
Yeah, I mean, exactly it just shows it's usually cylinder 3.
Yeah, that's what it is.
If you're in a 4-cylinder, it's usually cylinder 3.
You're right.
Yeah, it's the same thing we're seeing right now. It's just, it's a manifold, basically.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, this is great. We're kind of dialing it in until we can hand it off to one of the guys to just come in and press the button and go.
Yeah, run it.
Yeah, we've had a few little hiccups with stuff breaking.
Yeah, it's not fun to spill nano oil everywhere.
Yeah, so we determined putting in the, you put in the maple now.
Oh, you put in maple first?
Because then we can see it.
Okay.
So we don't double up.
Oh.
They're all stacked with maple first.
That's true, because when we did it, when we'd fill them all later and be like, do these have maple, do these not have maple? I don't know.
So it just makes it easier. Yeah, and then just go. Auto.
So it takes, what, 2 minutes?
Yeah, about that. Yeah, 3 minutes. These are much nicer bottles to use. Yeah, I mean, these are great, but they're kind of hard to carry around.
Yeah.
It's also a lot that I don't really need. Whereas this is nice size.
Yeah.
It's perfect. I actually keep one of these in my car.
Yeah, nice.
And throw one in the gun case.
It's suitably different than Nano Oil's bottle, which is good.
Yeah.
Like we want to differentiate ourselves, and we want to be,
yeah,
good and not be too big. All the bottles out there, 15cc all day long. Even 8cc is a little harder to get, but is available. But it has been. I've been looking for 5-6 years for a 3 to 5cc bottle, and there are not a lot out there.
Nope.
But I think this suits.
Yeah, it's all you're going to need
great
for the life of that product.
Yeah.
And then some,
Look at that. Already full. Just about.
Yeah, so I think it's got 53 or 50. Yeah, 54.
Yeah, 54.
And then these should be, I'll probably leave these. This actually looks like it's still in
fresh
there.
full. Does it drip?
Yeah, I usually like do, or give it a shake.
Yeah.
If not, you got time to
usually
go out. And if it drops, I'll put it in a tissue.
Right.
And go like that. So
I'd say, that's pretty close. That's within like a few
pretty
percent.
close. I might top off that one there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we kind of visually top it off just to make sure it's even. I'd rather go a little bit over.
Yeah.
Under.
Not bad. And you kind of only have to do this like once a month?
Yeah, once a month. Yeah.
Just sit here for an hour or something?
Yep. Yeah, ideally it'll be probably Darren doing it in the future.
Yep.
Kind of dial it in, create a process, process for it that's repeatable for everybody. We figure out all the mistakes, we find all the failure modes,
and
then we pass it on.
That's part of the fun and frustration with this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll make this a little bit more straightforward. Like we were saying, probably a return into the cap. So when we're bleeding it, we're just bleeding it right back in.
Right.
So I don't need an overflow container.
Yeah, because it was interesting, like, how do you do the initial fill when it's full of air and it just wants to go out that way, wants to go out that way? So, we pulled the little cap off and fill it out that way, but like Angelo was saying, put it back in here would be really good. And
this will happen, this is about 2 weeks later. I've got that much air in it.
Yeah.
Which is pretty good.
Sometimes you see a little air bubble come from somewhere and chase its way through. Yeah, and I wanted it clear with clear tubing and clear fittings so we can see what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I thought about making it from push to connect.
Oh, we're getting some leaking. So like John was saying, push to connect, or we might have a bit more strength in those fittings.
But clear, I just realized.
Not as clear, yeah. But then, one of the downsides with this is, you're going to get some leaking.
Yeah.
So we've got to figure out a way to make that not
Still kind of a jank setup, but it works. It functions.
Yeah, it works.
Take it.
And it works great. Works better than doing one at a time.
imagine.
Yeah. This we could bang out like 100 in like an hour.
Yeah.
Really, some of the longest part is just putting the two pieces together.
Yeah, like screwing the cap
and
on.
putting these on. Putting these on takes a bit of time. So we might figure out a way to speed that up a little bit.
Yep. This is this is robot, but to assemble everything,
Yep.
too dexterous.
Yep.
But yeah. Sweet. No, I'm very happy with how they turned out.
Yeah, they're great.
Thumbnail. All right, guys, thanks for hearing me rant about bottles for 10 minutes. I've been wanting to show this process for quite a long time now, and it's finally at a point where, it's not perfect, but it's done, and it's complete, and we're shipping product, and it feels really good. So it's good to share this with you guys. And there's always room for improvement. Like, I want to redesign this thing constantly, but, for now it functions. So until it breaks catastrophically, we'll probably leave it as is for a little bit. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I was going to say hit that subscribe button. I hate that, but I do want you guys to subscribe because I have a goal. So please do. Anyway, later guys. Bye.